Hey, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Arthur Galestian, here with John O Fleming. How's it going, John?
I'm very well, thank you. Good to chat to you this lovely afternoon. And where are you? Morning, are you still?
Yeah, we're here in LA. It's about 9:30 in the morning here. So
good morning to you.
And you're wrapping up your day over there?
My day never wraps up. It just goes on and on and on till I go to bed.
That's a good answer. So, John, you're kind of known for having this dark underground sound, and you've managed to have a loyal following without, having changed that, and that's really rare in the scene nowadays. How would you say you've been able to do that?
It's been hard work, to be honest. In my head, I just want to do what I love doing, and in theory, with this big EDM storm that's kind of come across us for the last few years, it's really felt like swimming against the tide, really hard. Everyone's going one way and I'm going the other way, but I refuse to give up. And it's not that I'm trying to bring back an old version of underground and trance, which some people translate, well, not fans because they get me. I mean, the underground scene's always been proud of moving forward, and that's what I like. All my career, I've always moved forward musically. And when everybody's following the masses and jumping ship and following the masses, making that kind of more commercial sound, it's been really hard trying to find music. The producers that you used to rely on have kind of jumped ship. So not only trying to find the music was hard work, but then, clubs and promoters kind of jumped ship as well. So this great world, big world that I was a part of, just got smaller and smaller and smaller. But like I always say, I won't jump ship. I'd rather hang up my headphones and follow the fads and follow the masses. I'm in a very happy place doing what I'm doing, and my kind of underground scene definitely seems to be coming back again. The last few years has been very fruitful and wonderful, so it was worth the rough ride.
So what do you think about the current state of dance music, especially with trance?
Trance changes and evolves, and I think trance was one of the first genres to get really battered by this kind of commercialism. But I mean, I'm not a purist. Some people translate incorrectly that I'm a purist, and when you're writing words, it's difficult to cover all angles. People nitpick and look at holes and try and translate what they think I'm trying to say from it. But the commercial world is very important part of the ecosystem. It's the gateway in for the next generation, and once a generation are in there, they start discovering new worlds within it. Some people eventually do get tired of the commercial bangers and the big drops, and they want something that's going to stimulate them a little bit more, and that's when they come to my front door. So it's a very important process. But I must say, in my career, I've seen many of these cycles, but I've never seen the commercial storm lingering around so long, and also been controlled by a lot of corporate companies. That I've seen the pop mentality and marketing and management come into the electronic scene like I've never seen before, and it's very controlled and selfish, and that's what's been happening, and kept it at this stale place. But music lovers are very smart people, and they distance themselves away from what's going on in the commercial world. And history shows we've always had two scenes that run parallel together: commercial scene, underground scene, and that's kind of the split is happening at this very moment.
Yeah, and I guess you could hope that the commercial scene will kind of be like a calling card, so it'll kind of get people interested in this new sound, and eventually it'll introduce them to the more underground sounds.
I think it does naturally. You could be dancing on the floor, and then there's suddenly this groove going, this really deep groove, and then the person says, "Wow, I really like this," but I don't like when it goes to kind of a fluffy moment. I wish it would stay deep. And then the power of the internet, how you can easily discover music, or people chatting on forums say, "Hey, if you like that groove, check this guy out. He plays that groove continuously, and he never gets to that fluffy moment." And then it's the natural kind of process and the excitement of discovering new music. I think we all love music, we all love dancing, and you're always trying to tailor-make what you really, really like. So it is just the natural organic process.
Now, looking back at your own career, what would you say the biggest turning point was for you?
I don't know, it just kind of happened. There wasn't like a magic moment where suddenly I was just playing locally and then bang, I was on an airplane. And it just kind of happened. My career started here in Brighton, where I live in the UK. And then I was playing everywhere in Brighton and along the south coast, and then the natural place for me to go to was London, because it's the closest city. And then things took off in London, then eventually up north, and then eventually across the sea to France, Holland, and around Europe. So it was just a natural process. There wasn't just, like I said, this big switch where it suddenly happened, and it seems to be like that today. It just, new things keep happening all the time. So I'm happy all these years later, and I'm still at the pinnacle and probably the best of my career at the moment. It's great.
All right, yeah, that's great news. Speaking of the kind of the international scene, Brighton is going to be hosting its first music conference next month, so why don't you tell us a little bit more about that and how you're going to be involved in that?
Yeah, I mean, this was just an idea, talking to a mate in the back room of a club, trying to fix the world, like I've always been known to do. The commercial storm actually hit Europe, and especially the UK first. What's going on in your country in the States happened here many years before, and eventually the bubble burst, and then it moved to different territories. And in the UK, the scene isn't that great at the moment. People think, oh, the UK is where it all started, where it all happened. It must be wonderful there, and people get a hell of a shock when they come here. And I'm trying to say, well, look, I can see what's gone wrong. We need to re-educate people, help people, give them the tools of the new promoters of how to get nights going, get the new DJs the tools of how to start their own nights, because that's what us established guys, that's what we did years ago. We started our own nights, and I thought, well, how can I reach people to kind of show them my process, get my mates to come along. And before we knew it was going to be in a small room, and it grew with the amount of people that jumped in to help me to a full-on music conference. And we've got Dave Clark, Dave Seaman, a big long list of A-list DJs. We've got the biggest record labels, we've got the manufacturers, we've got the government, PRS, which is our publishing infrastructure. All angles of the music industry said, this is a brilliant idea, we want in, and we want to help, and we want to stimulate the scene. So we've got 2 days of everything you need to know about how to make a start in the music industry. It's April 11th, April the 12th. So that's for the public, and then we got a conference proper for the industry to kind of get stuck into the nitty-gritty of, okay, let's discuss what's really happening, and don't listen to the orchestrated mass companies telling us what we should be doing. Let's discuss together what we think's working and what is working for us and what's right and what's wrong. So it's going to be a really, really solid conference, as opposed to other conferences that are kind of turned into, it's about events, it's about the parties, and the actual business side seems to being sidestepped. But I want to put the business first, and we're kind of all just really ignoring the evening events. There is a few, but I've said let's just make this about education and business first.
Sounds like it's something that's going to be really different from what a lot of other conferences have to offer, and I hope it's the first of many, many great things to come.
Yeah, keep fingers crossed. From the first one, it's looking absolutely outstanding, so it looks like it's going to be an annual thing.
How can people find out about that festival or that conference?
Go to the BrightonMusicConference.com, or just Google the Brighton Music Conference, and you'll get all sorts of links to the Facebook page and info. It's all over the press over here, so you'll soon find it, and then you'll just click on the links inside, and you'll see the amount of talks, seminars, and tutorials that we've got, and then you'll pick yourself up to the floor and say, "Wow, this is what I need."
All right. Now, tell us a little bit about your new JOOF Edition concept.
Yeah, this is what's helped me through that difficult journey that I went through. Like we were discussing earlier, of the commercialism kind of came into my world, and you asked me how I survived. And this was the turning point for me, because all the clubs and promoters that I worked for embraced the EDM thing. Of course, they've realised it's not the key to success, and they're all kind of coming back to what they used to do originally, and booking acts that have got proper fans and not stimulated massage and bought fans. And they're the ones that used to fill the clubs, and they used to earn money. And to keep me going, I thought, well, I'm either going to get booked on a night with other artists where I don't suit musically. They do what they do, I do what I do, and their crowd doesn't understand me, and vice versa. So I generate my own event, and it's basically just taking things back to the underground, and it's a dark room a very good quality sound system and pop the DJ out the way from the crowd instead of being hoisted up on a stage with LED things going on and dancers and pyrotechnics. I don't want that. I want everyone to be involved into the journey that I'm giving them as a DJ. I mean, I prefer playing long sets, and that enables me to do that. You're not getting distracted by stuff happening. You know, it's like if I was trying to read a book and tell you a story, and then all this stuff was going on. You had clowns, you had things. You'd be distracted. You wouldn't follow my story. So that's why it's important to have it dark, and you get people locked in, and you can really play with the dance floor. You know, I can go deep, down, sideways, up, and just play with them and give them one hell of a musical journey. And I created this concept. I said, look, I want to play at a club, but next time I play, I want to do this. Trust me, please trust me, let's go for it. And I know it's the opposite of what you're doing at the moment, and they went with it, and it's been a massive success. And here we are 5 years later, and we're pretty much selling out all the shows that we're doing. So it kept me sane, but it also allowed me to do what I love doing, and it's be a true DJ.
All right. So then how is your new album different than the last?
This is digital only, and this is like a big step for me because I've released God knows how many CDs. I'm actually in my office now and I'm looking at a whole wall full of them. God knows how many I've done, maybe 30 or something. And I'm a DJ that plays long sets, and I express myself musically and tap into all genres. And with a CD, you're limited to 80 minutes. So you do your mix for 80 minutes, then you have to start again for CD2, CD3, CD4. And that journey gets broken up. But also with CD, you're under pressure from labels to bung as many tracks as you can in the mix. All those tracks get edited, so you're not getting the full journey. So me being a guy, a gadget man, and embraces technology, I also product developed for Pioneer. But well, look at today's culture. Everyone's got some form of PDA in their hand. They've got iPads, they listen to music on the computers, they stream, they've got Wi-Fi systems, networking all around the houses. That's the real world where people listen to music. So that allowed me to do an extended mix. It's actually 4.5 hours, but it's taking the full club experience, what you get from me in a club, and then bringing it into your lounge or into your car or wherever you're listening to it, and it's completely unbroken. And shops like iTunes and Beatport, etc., absolutely think that they love the idea and think it's brilliant. So it feels like a big weight of these restrictions lifted from me, and I can do my job properly.
Yeah, it sounds like an extra treat for listeners too, because most people are used to shortening down their musical journeys, and you've kind of taken an entire club night and you're bringing it to them in a format that they could just take with them wherever they go.
Yeah, because usually it's like a studio mix, and that's what you're kind of used to as CD comps, and it's not the real journey. You know, they're just putting all the bangers which made the impact, and it's a studio mix, where mine is the full club experience. So you'll hear it just really deep, and it'll build up, and you know, I mean, there's not too many mixes around like that. You know, I've been listening for a long time. For well, let's take it back to this. It's not all about, you know, your marketing weapons so you can sell more gigs and all that kind of stuff. I just want the true John 00 experience you get in the club, and that's what you get with this mix comp.
Now you also run a record label, JOOF Recordings. Why don't you tell us a bit more about that? You know, how involved are you with your label's talent scouting and production process? You know, what you look for in an artist, etc.
I'm fully involved, and I'm a bit of a control freak when it comes to this, because it's my baby, and it's 18, must be 19-year-old this year. It's amazing how time flies, but it started when I was picking up these white labels years ago, and I couldn't understand why these artists weren't getting signed. They'd press these white labels in order for the DJs to support them, and in the hope to get signed, and these tracks weren't getting signed. And I'd contact them and say, is that track signed yet? And say no, and it just annoyed me. So I said, right, I'm going to start my own label to give these guys the exposure they deserve. And I've kept that very ethos until today. I don't want the label to be a huge mass corporate label. I don't want it to grow like that, and it is just literally for me to offer a tool and a place where good quality music can get released, and that's exactly how all of us think today. I mean, we've got Glenn who works at the label, he's been there since day one, and we think that very same way now. And you know, we're a traditional label, not like today's digital labels. My mum could go and start a label now if she wanted. There's no care and attention. We still run our A&R ears over each and every demo. If we get a demo and there's a really good idea, but the engineering and everything is completely wrong and terrible, we'll reach out to that guy instead of just getting it and releasing it like another label would. We say, right, it needs some work here. You need to do some work on this engineering. So we go back and forth. We help them. We get involved, helping with the engineering until we get it right. So it could be a 6 month to a year process to get that track right. Then we release it, and all those kind of hands-on involvement with each and every artist. We're their friends. We're their shoulders to cry on, and we make these constant tweaks within the artists that we work with, and that makes it exciting for us. We all love it.
I wish that was something more labels out there were doing, so that definitely sets you apart from the rest of the pack. Last question here before we wrap this up. How did you get your name?
Years and years ago, DJs had gimmick names. God knows how they who came up with this idea, but it was from the raves. Raves are a big part of the electronic culture. Went from house music into raves, and that's where it hit the masses. And we had to come up with a stage name, and my name is Fleming, and Ian Fleming created the James Bond character, so it was just a merger of the two. So 00 is 007, the agent, so we just popped 00 in the middle, thought, well, that'll do, and it's stuck with me ever since. So right. I tried to drop it a few years back, and there was a big outcry of fans. No, 00 is just part of you. You can't take it away. So I thought, I've got to listen to you guys, and I'll keep it.
All right, well, it seems to have worked out really well, so I'm glad you did.
But it's something you remember as well, which is a kind of a positive thing. I'm guilty of forgetting names, but when you've got something in the middle like a 00, you just don't forget it.
Right. All right, well, John, thank you so much for the time and for giving us a glimpse into your world. Really, really appreciate it. So what's the best way we can all stay in touch with you?
I think the same way as everyone else on social networking these days, either Twitter or Facebook. I'm more active on Facebook. I give tutorials and help and advice and the odd minor rant these days. So that's the best way.
All right. Well, thank you so much. Very, very much appreciated, ladies and gentlemen. John 00 Fleming.
Thank you, Arthur. Bye now.
Bye.